So last, and I'm going to say possibly least, but most interesting, I think, the CIA book club. So John, you've written about this in the Cold War. Apparently,
Yeah.
there's a new book out. There was the CIA had many programs, many programs, and one of the smaller ones was to smuggle works of literature into Eastern Europe, particularly Poland under the Solidarity Movement, 1984, Brave New World, Cosmo magazine, Le Carré novels, no doubt many other things, books of poetry. And anyway, this is a kind of amusing episode.
It is. And you would be surprised at how much success the CIA had during the Cold War, just making the Soviets go crazy. One of the first things they did with the CIA book club, well, it wasn't one of the first, it was the first thing they did, was Dr. Zhivago. Okay? Dr. Zhivago came out in like 58 or 57, something like that. And a small publishing house in Italy had the rights to publish it in English. So it somehow came to the attention of somebody at the CIA, and they said, oh my God, what a masterpiece this is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's about the revolution in Russia, and it kind of failed to protect people. And Dr. Zhivago is an amazing guy, and Laura's an amazing woman, and blah, blah, blah. So they decided to print it in Russian, knowing that it was banned, of course, in Russia. So the issue is, how do you get it into Russia in numbers big enough to actually impact society? They couldn't figure it out. Well, it turned out that year there was an international book fair in Brussels. And so it was one of the very few events where Soviet citizens were allowed to leave the country to attend. If you wanted to go to Brussels and you had the money to go to Brussels, you were allowed an exit visa and you go to Brussels. Well, Russians were instructed to not go to the American booth. So the CIA worked with, get this, the Vatican Intelligence Service. The Vatican had this enormous tent, enormous pavilion at the book fair, and they had a back room. You just sort of had to wander back there on your own, and they had thousands of copies of Dr. Zhivago in Russian, but the covers were blank. So word quickly got around the Russians that this incredible book that everybody in the West is talking about is available at the Vatican pavilion.